We're back again. Take two.
Funny enough, this is take two. We had technical difficulties.
Technically, we did, yes.
Yes, we had technical difficulties. Turns out, me getting the pizza is dangerous. But it was so deliciously cheesy.
Did we actually talk about anything in take one that was related to video games?
No, it was just bollocks. It's kind of like this right now. We haven't even done the intro. It took us like a minute or two in the first take to do the intro properly.
Well, this is the left stick, right stick podcast, yes. There's a comma in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's episode 2, Electric Boogaloo. Nice. There's our podcast title, Derek.
Electric Boogatoo. We'll do something. We'll do something there. I had some ideas for the title, but they weren't that good. But yeah, welcome back everyone to all our 3.5 listeners.
Is the 3.5 because I'm basically fat, so I count as 1.5?
No.
Oh, okay. Or am
it
I
was something else?
Or is the 0.5 my ego?
The 0.5 is. So I figure there's 3 people, and then I don't know. The collective counts as half. Just the collective consciousness of our little friend group. It counts for half because it has the potential to be one more if they, invite a friend or somebody else listens to.
Nutsatsu!
I don't know. I didn't mean to get all existential. Just a brief recap of what we talked about in take one. Let's see. We talked about Doctor Who and about how I
called it shit,
much.
And I called it shit.
And what else did we talk about? Had nothing to do with video games.
We came up with crappy names for the podcast.
Oh yeah.
I think.
I don't remember.
What was that before? Was that in the pre-recording?
No. That was in the recording.
I can't even remember now. I know at one point I joked about it being a porn podcast instead, but I can't remember when I did that.
We joked about, this isn't going to be as funny because you're not hearing the jokes themselves, but, telling people about jokes is just as funny sometimes.
Exactly. It's just like the Rick and Morty thing. You just tell people the jokes from Rick and Morty and they won't get sick of it. Or, you'll end up making people hate Rick and Morty.
I gotta ask, are you still playing video games? I mean, it's been a while.
Why would I do that? Video games are
I don't want to be presumptuous.
Video games are for nerds. It's like,
We're not nerds.
Video games? Who would do such a silly thing? These kids these days and their Xboxes and PlayStations and their Nintendos.
And their Dooba-madoobs.
It's all about the remakes of Disney classics, which suck, and remakes of classic movies that suck.
I feel like we talked about a movie, too.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, who knows? It's gone. It's gone. We've purged it from our minds.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Yep.
Alright, so... we should talk about what we've been playing. You want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, okay. Lately, I've been playing a decent assortment of games. I've been playing a bit of Guacamelee Super Turbo Super Turbo Championship Edition. Yeah, it is Super Turbo Championship Edition. I've got the tab from True Achievements up here. I played Guacamelee on the PS3 when it came out. It's still really fun. I hate I think I talked about this last episode, didn't I? Didn't I recommend it to you last episode as a
I don't know. That was about 4 years ago. So.
That was 4 months ago.
4 months? I thought it was 4 years.
I know. It feels like such a far gone time. When E3 happened and E3 wasn't oh wait, E3's been shit for years. Don't worry, I'm making up for our debate earlier by just bringing out all the unpopular opinions. Might as well just piss off every single person I can.
That's what we should have called this, the unpopular podcast. Nah, that's probably already taken, and somebody made it cool. It's some hipster thing. Oh.
Exactly. It's like they would look at this and go, we were unpopular before it was cool. But yes, Guacamelee, a great Metroidvania game. If you have any interest in Metroidvania games, I do highly recommend it.
Are you recommending it to me or the listeners?
Anyone that likes Metroidvania games, I recommend it to.
Because I do like those types of games, and
I highly recommend it.
I did start playing it whenever I tried out Game Pass.
Yeah.
I played it and I liked it, so when it went on sale, I bought it along with the DLC.
Give it a go, dude. The only thing I'll say about it, and the thing I dislike about it, is the El Infierno challenges are just terrible. I had a rant last night or this morning about challenge DLCs. It was originally a challenge DLC for the old PS3 and Vita version, and my god, do I hate it! It's not fun in the slightest. Getting gold medals on those challenges, just a hair-pulling experience. But aside from that, it's a lot of fun. It's been good revisiting it, even though getting the 100% in all areas isn't fun in the slightest either. But I just don't like wandering around a map trying to find every single nook and cranny, personally.
I don't mind it so much in some games if it's well done, but in some games it's just like, I don't want to explore. I just want to get in and go, you know?
It's just tedious in Guacamelee, as far as I'm concerned. It's like I've already done it once as well, so it's like I've already done it before. I got the Platinum Trophy on PS3. So this time it's just like, why? I've also been playing a lot of Fortnite Battle Royale.
Oh yeah.
I've been streaming it too. And that game's a lot of fun. So it's a PUBG knockoff. It's Battlegrounds, just with Fortnite as the basis. With a lot of stuff missing that PUBG has, but it does have like the building mechanic, which does actually add quite a bit to it. It's a lot of fun.
Didn't PlayerUnknown actually sue them for some idea that they used?
I don't know.
I read that recently, that there was some concept in the game. I don't know if it was for the whole concept of the game or what, but they basically sued the makers of Fortnite.
Oh, wow.
I could be wrong, but I really think I read a couple things about that recently.
Let me...
Get on the Bat computer.
Yeah, here we go.
Check it out.
PlayerUnknown sues Fortnite. Well, he said PlayerUnknown said about growing concerns for replicate. Basically, he slammed them for replicating gameplay, and for the most part, it is very similar. Like the way the way it operates is basically the same. Yeah, it's like, said his studio was concerned and stated it would contemplate further. So he's thinking of legal action, basically. But yeah, like, I will say that it's a good way of figuring out if you would enjoy battle royale games, and it's free. So if you have any interest in trying out battle royale games, it's a good way to give that genre a try, because it looks like it's about to explode. Battle royale games are about to explode with popularity. So, well, they already have, but we're going to get more than just PUBG.
Yeah, I think the Fortnite packs are on sale this week too.
Yeah, the Founders Packs are available. Are 40% off right now. You don't need to buy the Founders Pack. All the Founders Pack gets you is the PvE stuff. I'm content just playing the Battle Royale, personally. I might try out Fortnite when it's like super cheap.
You you got to admit, it's pretty nice when there's a free game. I don't run into many free games that I like, but people who like them, I mean, that's a it's a great value if you don't have to sink any money into it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the way I see it is like it's a lot of fun, even if I'm not playing it in 6 months' time. It's like I paid nothing, I got quite a bit of enjoyment out of it, and it gave me a cost-free way of testing the waters with a genre. And like I said, it's fun. At first I was like, this isn't so great, and I'm still in the field of it's not great. It's very unfinished. It didn't even have a scoped sensitivity modifier when it launched. They only just added that in yesterday, so that's fun.
Isn't that a strange thing? How, like a stark difference from the video games that we played when we were kids, to where that was the final game, and if they wanted to improve on that, they came out with a sequel, or they came out with like a new edition or something.
Well, I suppose that. To be honest, that's the kind of the flaw in the way things are these days. It's like, release a game with bugs and stuff. Don't worry, you can patch it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if the game is a little unfinished before launch, because you can just have the good old day one patch.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's advantages to it. Obviously, back then, you couldn't get these bugs fixed.
Yeah. But I feel like they put a lot more work into polishing things. They were like, hey, this is as good as it's going to get.
It was much more final. It was a thing of, if you're releasing your game as a buggy mess, then you're taking a huge risk, because if your game's a buggy mess on launch, well, pretty much everyone around the world's going to have that until they have a second wave that maybe have like an updated version of the game.
Yeah. One exception to that, to where they didn't care about putting out buggy games, was I remember reading about when Nintendo came out, before they created their, I forget what it's called, but like their standard of games, to where
the Nintendo seal of quality.
Yeah, before they released that, everybody was releasing like game after game. That's why there's so many Nintendo games, because people were just like, hey, people are buying these. We make it look cool on the cover. We don't have to put that much quality into it. Throw out one of these every couple months and make a ton of money. They did.
Well, the thing is with a Nintendo seal of quality is actually isn't that. The Nintendo seal of quality was literally just a thing of that it was approved by Nintendo to appear on their system. It had nothing to do with the game actually being good, or even being polished or not buggy, because, to be honest, Nintendo have really several of Nintendo's games are actually super buggy. You'd be amazed how many bugs are in those old games. Just look at Metroid.
That actually brings us to another good thing we could talk about. I figure we could diverge a bit. I could talk about what I've been playing later. You could talk more about what you've been playing more, but that brings us to a good point. Glitches in video games. I believe we had a caller that just called in. Was it?
No, we had a question from 4 months ago.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yes, we had a question 4 months ago, after we put our first call out for questions.
Was it from Joe?
Yep, it was from Joe, and she asked, what's your favourite game glitch, and what's the worst? So, Mr. Derek 2.0. By the way, we never introduced ourselves. We're great, aren't we? By the way, the British plonker talking right now is Ross Hitchman.
And I'm Derek 2.0. Okay. Which is also my gamer tag, so just spell it out. And
exactly.
Yeah. Add me as a friend, even though only our friends will probably listen to this.
Yep.
So yeah.
We're great at it. We're good at podcasts, really, guys, I swear.
Yeah, we are master podcasters. That's how I like to see it.
Alright, so, yeah. What glitches, what's your favourite, dude?
I was thinking about it earlier, and I did a little research. I looked up online what were some, like, famous glitches and stuff, and I just found a bunch of crap on the internet. It wasn't anything interesting. So I took a look at my game collection.
Good place
and
to start.
I thought, I thought maybe if I just look at the covers, I'll remember something about the game.
Yeah.
And I remembered a few things. Just the first time I really encountered like a glitch, it was just a graphic glitch. It wasn't that big of a deal, but in like a modern video game, was in Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
I beat this guy up, and as he goes down, I notice that half his body is sticking out from the ground, and half of like his legs are sticking out from below. So where I'm up on this raised platform, so he's literally fused into this thing, and he's supposed to be unconscious, but he's still like very much looks conscious, just not moving. And I don't know. I took a screenshot of it, and I still have it somewhere.
Basically, the whole thing of like when characters after you beat them like kind of glitch into the ground, and then sometimes they'll start spazzing out.
Yeah,
and start having really weird ragdoll physics.
Yeah, I saw one online today to where on the first Assassin's Creed, this guy, like this bad guy, was basically humping the wall, and I was like, "Well, that's about what there is on the internet with people posting these." I wanted like actual like
there's more. Trust me,
like game breaking glitches and stuff, but I did think of one or two more. Let me look at my
just real quick, just because you said about glitches on the internet. If you want a great channel. This is a shout out, but this is a shout out to someone that's actually popular. Check out Son of a Glitch, because he's got great videos where he basically like he'll like do a video on a game, and he'll do several glitches from that game. And you get to see some pretty awesome glitches. Like I think you were playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles for UHH. You should see his video on Sonic 3, because I think your mind would be blown. It's pretty cool.
Oh, to check that out.
Yeah, check that channel out, Son of a Glitch, on YouTube.
So I gotta mention one other game, like modern game, anyways. It's a game that I played early this year, and I really enjoyed it. It's called Silvio. It's like a kind of psychological horror game.
Yeah.
And it was very glitched. It was very buggy. And to the point to where it was like game breaking. And it's the first time I've ever really experienced anything like that, to where I had to start a completely new game save and go all the way through. And it ruined the game for me, because the things that were scary, they're not exactly jump scares, but they were kind of like you didn't know exactly where they were going to be. But when you play the game 2 or 3 times, you know exactly where they're going to be.
And it's like, the old thing of horror.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing of horror. It only works once.
Yeah, and it's why you can't watch a scary movie, twice in a short amount of time. It's like, I remember. He sees dead people. Yeah, I remember. That's a dead person.
Yeah.
But Bruce Willis is dead. Ooh, spoiler alert from 18 years ago. Anyways. But no, this game, the glitches were not that bad at first. And I kind of figured out how to maneuver through the glitches. It was to where don't ever stop playing the game in the middle of a chapter.
Yeah.
Because I would leave in the middle of a chapter, I'd come back, and things would be reset, but I wouldn't have lost my progress. And sometimes it messed things up. Sometimes it confused me as to where I was at. But then the next to last chapter, I got in there, and I exploited a different glitch. It was really difficult to navigate this particular chapter. And I went over a wall, or I went through the wrong door or something, and I ended up like halfway through the chapter, and then couldn't finish the chapter. And then I was able to access the next chapter, but I couldn't get the rest of the story. I couldn't get like the kind of boss of that level. I couldn't get the some of the collectibles, and so. And I still haven't gone back and actually done it properly, because that was the second game-breaking glitch I had. I was able to go through till the end, but the first one was some things just weren't showing up where they were supposed to, because I closed the game during a chapter.
Jeez.
But that was that game could have been so much better if
it had actually been finished.
Right, and it was a port of a PC game, and the guy I even spoke to the developer. He was very friendly, very nice about it, and was like, "Oh, tell me what you did in that chapter, because I've been trying to plug those holes." And I was like, "Okay, great." And so I told him, gave a lot of feedback, and said, "Oh, here's all these things that went wrong. You might want to look into it." And no update. He's about to put the sequel out. So it's like, oh.
Yeah, those are frustrating. I was actually contemplating something like that, but I'll do my least favourite glitches first. A second,
right.
Sorry, but for me, my favourite glitch, I'm gonna go with two, because there's one that I've experienced, but one that I have at least seen and think is amazing. So the one I haven't done myself is the Flavio glitch in Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Basically, in about halfway through the game, there's this character called Flavio who joins you for a bit. And you can basically use several other glitches and a couple of other glitches in the game to bug out the game so that he follows you for the rest of the game. He will follow you for the rest of the game, so he'll be in cutscenes. Again, if you want to see the effects of this glitch, Son of a Glitch did a video on Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. I recommend it, because just seeing some of the results of this glitch is hilarious. Like, to be honest, there's a bit where Princess Peach has a shower, and he's there, and he's just watching her take a shower, and she's not flinching. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. The glitch is amazing. It's even funnier when he's like spawned above water, because he'll basically just drop into the water, get respawned, and just drop straight back into the water, so he's just constantly falling into the water. It's great.
I think I played a game, I cannot remember which one it was, but it was one of those infinite death things to where you're falling, and as soon as you respawn, it respawns you in a terrible place, and you just keep going, and you're like, I just have to turn the game off.
Yep. Funny enough, that's related to the bad one, but the glitch, my personal favourite glitch that I've actually done myself is in Super Mario Sunshine. You can glitch underneath the map of Pianta Village. Basically, on the tree, people who played Super Mario Sunshine should know what I'm talking about. Basically, the level's propped up on a big tree, and you fall into the abyss, you die. It's a 3D Mario game. But if you fall onto the tree in a certain way, there's a little scene where it will not trigger the game over, like you losing a life. So you will slide down the tree and end up in the void, and you can look up at the level. And I discovered this glitch when I was about 13, 14. And I remember actually recording a video of it on my old Nokia phone. Like, this will tell you how long ago it was. This is about the time when my mind was blown that I could have a phone with a camera. Like, that's how long ago this was.
When people use the term camera phone?
Yeah. Back when Sony Ericsson phones were a thing. Like, this is how long ago it was. But back when you had to convert most music files into WAVs just to get them on your phone, and they had to be like 30 seconds long. It's like, this is a long time. This feels like such a...
Man, I couldn't even do that with my first camera phone.
This feels like such a long time ago. This is a good 13 years ago now, I would wager. Yes, I was like 11, 12, and I never encountered a glitch like it in my before. It's just a glitch that's just stuck with me forever. I actually did do a video of it when I managed to find it again years later, but I deleted that video. But yeah, it's a glitch that's really stuck with me over the years. It's like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. But the worst kind of glitch, I want to give an honorable mention to a glitch in Final Fantasy VI where the evade stat is totally bugged. Like, it doesn't work. So, one of the status effects actually is completely useless. The blind status effect in Final Fantasy VI, like in the original SNES version, is absolutely useless because evade doesn't work, so your accuracy can't be affected.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad glitch. It makes I think it makes one or two weapons kind of useless too. But my least favorite glitch of any kind is any glitch that just causes you to fall through floors or get stuck in the geometry of the level and force you to reload a checkpoint or reload the game or whatever. It's like I can't stand those glitches. It's like nothing feels cheaper than stuff like that. And I know that's funny considering my favourite glitch is falling through a floor, but you were going to die anyway. To cause it, you have to die. You're basically dying anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't really think of that many glitches beforehand, but now all of these are popping into my head, and I can't remember the games they're from, but I've had at least a couple games not too long ago to where I got stuck somewhere, and my character just wasn't on a surface that allowed them to jump, but the only way they could get back to a good surface was to jump, and so you're sitting there just kind of wiggling, trying to move, and you're like, oh, maybe if I just turn just a little more this way, and it's like, ugh.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's, I mean, this is one of the reasons that my least favourite type of glitch is the reason why I hate Ubisoft games, because they're full of them. And funny enough, my best example of this is actually an Ubisoft game. It's from Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, where there's in basically like the final sequence of the game, or one of the final sequences of the game, there's this big elevator fight where when you're on this elevator as it's going up, you have to protect the woman that accompanies you throughout like half the game, and she can die, and she has horrible AI, so it's a frustrating fight because the game's combat sucks, and the AI is just infuriatingly bad. So you go through this really tricky fight that I think everyone hated, and at the top, if you manage to beat it, when it gets to the top, there is a chance you will fall through the elevator and be forced to reload, and your reload forces you to do the boss fight all over again.
Oh no!
You have to do that elevator fight, and here's the worst part. That was in the original game. The original game released in 2003, right? They re-released they did a remaster of that trilogy on PS3 several years ago. It's still present in the PS3 remaster, because when I did that, I actually got the glitch and had to do the elevator fight a second time.
That's pretty terrible.
It's just like, it's been like, I think the PS3 trilogy came out in like 2012 or something. I can't be bothered to get up and check. It's like, this has been, 9-10 years, and you still haven't fixed this? What the hell?
You gotta wonder, I mean, they must be aware of it, so it must be, can you really call that a remaster? If you go back and you don't fix a major problem in a game.
Oh, the remaster's awful. They literally just updated the textures and nothing else. It's just overly twitchy because it's on a PS3 controller, and it's not fun to play at all. I mean, to be honest, the originals aren't fun to play anymore. They've aged horribly. But, yeah.
Wow. You know, I thought of another game, actually a pretty old game, that I remember a good glitch. It was good and bad. It was Booger Man. Did you ever play that one?
Nope.
Really fun game. I played it on the Sega Genesis. Basically,
that's Mega Drive for us Europeans.
Well, we had Mega Drive and Genesis here. So did you just have Mega Drive?
It was just Mega Drive over here, and I'm pretty sure Mega Drive was the original Japanese name.
Yeah, that was the original Japanese name, but we had it like... Well, it was the Mega Drive was the original incarnation, and they had like...
That was the Master System, wasn't it?
No, yeah, the Master System's what I'm thinking
you
of.
guys never had Mega Drive as far as I'm aware.
Well, No, I think we did, though, because I think when it first came out, my cousin, he had one that was a little bigger, had some red on it, and I'm pretty sure it was Mega Drive, and then I think they marketed it with the first Sonic game, but then whenever I got it, like, not too long after, it came with Sonic 2, and it was called Sega Genesis, and I think it's known as Sega Genesis 2, like the second kind of series. Because later on they came out with like a smaller, more compact version after it was kind of obsolete and called it the Sega Genesis 3.
But from what I can find, all I see is just that it was called the Genesis the entire time in the US.
Well, it was a different form factor. It was at least as different as the original Xbox 360
there's two models.
In the S model, you know.
There is two models. There's a Mega Drive and a Sega Genesis Model 2.
Yeah, that's the difference I was thinking of.
But I believe, I've seen the original model and it was called the Genesis. So I don't know. Well,
anyways, but yeah, so it was a Sega game, probably around 93, 94, and you play as the character known as Boogerman. He's this weird-looking guy and like clearly a homemade costume. I think he might be he was a plumber turned superhero. Not very similar to Mario, but anyways, he goes in this weird world, like probably as weird as like Earthworm Jim's world or something like that.
Yeah,
and his abilities are he can flick his boogers at enemies, he can travel via toilets, and he can, if he finds some milk, he can hawk loogies, which were much more effective. But it was one of the few games that I actually completed back then. It was really, really fun, but they had a cheat code you could use to where is a very bizarre cheat code for back then. You could just move the character around the screen without having to platform or anything. As long as you didn't hit any of the bad guys, you didn't get hit. So you didn't have to like dodge them and go up platforms and everything, and you didn't have to like find a way to unlock the wall to go to the next part of the level. You could literally just come out of the pipe and then just kind of find your way and get all the collectibles and things you wanted and upgrades, and then find the end pipe and go in it. And that was a cheat code, which was cool. But the glitch was that if you went in certain areas, you would just die. But there were areas that you could not get into if you didn't have the cheat code. So they were like, hey, let's let people just sort through the game. But let's not think about, like, oh, if they go to that one corner, instant death. It's like, that's probably the only way I beat the game. I don't know if I did it legitimately.
Should go back to it.
Go back to it being legit. And you can't turn it off once you start it. So here's the problem, from what I remember anyways, is that you get to the end of the level and everything, and it'd be fine, but anytime you got to like a boss or something that you couldn't just fake your way through, it wouldn't let you attack or something. So the cheat code was essentially useless most of the time.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yeah, that's what made me think of. I went way back for that one.
Yeah, went back further than me, and that's impressive.
Yeah, Boogerman was in development before you were, I guess.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought.
It's a sentence that's never been said before.
Yeah. Although that would imply, if it came out in like '94, that it'd been in development since before mid 1992.
Well,
there is that to consider.
I think it came out in '93, to be honest, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
because I didn't get games new back then. I was like, I saw it and it was already out, and everybody, like, nobody really played it, but my friend had it. I was like, I gotta get this.
So yeah, That's glitches, and I talked a bit about what I'm playing. We've heard me talk about. I think we've all heard me talk about Overwatch. It's not a particularly riveting thing to talk about. So, what have you been playing, good sir?
Yeah. Just want to say thanks to Joe for your question, even if you don't remember asking it, because it was 4 years ago. What have I been playing? Well, let's go and make it easy by going to my recently played section on my Xbox. I have things to talk about, but I feel like this is going to spur a little bit more in my memory, in my failing memory.
He's becoming old, ladies and gentlemen. It's a curse. Once you pass the age of 30, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, for me it was 29, but yeah. And it doesn't work if I sort by last used. Apparently I've never used any of my games.
That's a good way to start.
A lovely little glitch in my Xbox.
How fitting.
Well, it's funny, since the new update, and I know you don't want to get into the new update and everything, I actually like it, and it's smoother for me, and I haven't had really any problems, but now here's a problem. So
it's like, I'll get into the update real quick. It's like, it runs faster. It's nowhere near as laggy as the last dashboard. I will say that. My problem with it is just like, why are we adding extra button presses? It's the concept of why add extra clicks.
Yeah.
It's just irritating. It's like, to get to my friends list, and that's something I do a decent amount when I'm playing with friends. I have to bring up the menu and then go over a tab and then press A to get to my friends list, and it's just like, this is unnecessary. I like being able to just access my friends list straight up with literally just pressing up on the thing, or in this case pressing. I'd like to be able to see my friends list straight from hitting left bumper. I hate to appear offline earlier. I think I added like an extra step, or I think I added an extra step or two compared to what it was before. It's just.
I will say that it's less cluttered because they group them into icons, but it's more. There's more effort involved.
It seems like there's more dead space now. There is so much dead space on my screen with this update.
Yeah.
Which I do, and I'm not talking about a horror game. Funny enough, no, it's like there is just so much dead space. There's so much of it. I don't understand several of the ideas. It's like, and they're also trying to promote clubs. It's like the recommended thing. It's like trying to promote clubs. It's like, no one cares about clubs. No one cares. Microsoft, seriously, it's like, here's something I'd like Microsoft to do with this with a dashboard. This is something I'd like, okay? Because I think me and you can say it's good to have options for different people. If some people like the social elements of the Xbox, more power to them. But as someone who gives no shits about it, all I want is party chat, a store that's quick and easy to access. Spoilers, the store on Xbox is terrible. It really is. It's so slow. It's so bloody slow and clunky. Why didn't they fix that? But like, I just want my friends list, parties, and my games, and a decent store. I don't care about the Mixer tab. If I'm gonna watch Mixer, I'm gonna watch it on my PC. I don't care about movies on my Xbox. I hate watching movies on my console. I don't care about anything other than those couple of things. Can we just have a compact mode? A compact mode that filters some of the BS into like just one tab. Just let us filter the. Like, let us customize the home menu to how we want it, basically.
Right.
Let me, if I want to, be able to just hit the guide button and hit left bumper, and there's my friends list. Just like it was in the last dashboard. I know it wasn't left bumper, but you get the idea.
The only thing about that is that there's a lot of variables if people customize it, and I feel like...
But they've got a lot of customization options anyway.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a lot more customization. I just feel like that with all the variables, so many things are going to go wrong, and
then it's up to them to not spaghetti code it.
Well, right, yeah, but you won't be able to recreate it, and then basically we're probably going to get one of those old Windows error messages that says, like, what did they used to say? The equivalent now is something went wrong, but like, there used to be those messages that come up and like, a critical error occurred.
Yeah. But in this case, it's just like, have some themes. Just have like 3 different stages. Like Discord does it. Discord has a compact one where it's basically like an IRC chat, and then the standard default theme. It's like, let people be able to customize and cut out the crap they don't want. It is what I'm asking for, because I'm sick. I'm sick of being recommended clubs. I'm sick of so many different added bullshit that's on the Xbox One that has been added to this damn console for the last 4 years because it used to be a DRM machine. It's like, we've already got enough crap tacked on that we're probably never getting rid of. Yeah, just a little personal frustration with the console, and this dashboard update's kind of brought it all out of me again.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's any update is going to thrill a lot of people and really piss off a lot of people.
Well, it's like, I liked the last update. Apart from how laggy it was, I actually liked the last dashboard update. Compared to the update before, it was less laggy. It wasn't great, but it was at least less laggy than it was before. And it was actually organised pretty well. I wasn't having clubs shoved down my throat. It was very easy to ignore. Now I've got an annoying icon and everything going, hey, you could join this club. F off.
Well, one thing I gotta say that I mean, I like a few things about it, but one of the things I like the most, and it's something people actually complained about, and I think they fixed it, is with the last update, they changed the way you go home, and people were pissed. And then Major Nelson was like, oh, all you have to do is press the home button and then A twice. And it was like, what? And I remember thinking, like, okay, maybe I can get used to it. And I did get used to it, but now it's press the home button, and you're already on the home button on the menu. So you press A once, and I was like, that's not as good as just hitting the home button. But I found myself hitting A twice, like, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to press it again, and I'm loving that.
Well, it's like, that's an example of removing, like, not having extra button presses, and it's like they fixed that, but then added extra button presses to pretty much every other function that I use. Yeah, it's like you went one step forward, but 2 steps back. I don't know. It's just a frustrating update for me. There's parts I like, and then parts I just hate about it, and it just irritates me. It just brings me back to the 360 days, where it's like, okay, cool, it's near the end of the year, can't wait for the Xbox 360 update to change the dashboard again, and I can't wait to hate this dashboard. It's like they don't even let you get used to the dashboards. It's like half the time you start getting used to the dashboard, and then they go, oh, we're changing it. What's the point? It's like,
yeah, it kind of seems like, I don't know how maybe it's because technology moves so fast, or it's just the way their development team does it, but it's as if they say, hey, we have an idea, and in order to fully implement it, they have to completely do it, work out all the bugs, and then put it out months later, only to go, oh, this doesn't work with what we're trying to go for, this doesn't function very well. Like, there needs to be something in between to where they go, oh, we put it all together, we looked at it, and oh no, that's too many button presses, or no, that's too clunky, or oh, that's not organized enough. Like, come up with a clear, concise plan, and then come out with like a yearly update, and then maybe like some tweaks along the way. Not like this.
I just got a good idea.
So many major updates.
Pick a base design. Pick a base design you want for your home menu, and work from that. Work on how you can fix. Like with this one. I could be fine with this. It's just got tweaks, but I know in 6 to 12 months it's just going to be completely redone again.
I feel like this is what they're going for this time. I will say that is that they're trying to make it like what they're doing with the Windows products. It's the fluent design, and I feel like they're going to stick with this for at least a while this time.
I hope so. I hope they just stick with this and just work on how to improve it, how to reduce button presses.
Yeah.
Like again, reduce button presses for the main functions. It's something that I just kind of go, look. I remember the 360 days where we would get a 360 update that just basically it had some elements of like it always had the left and right bumper to get through the different menus of the Xbox Guide and stuff, and it always had a sort of similar base design, but they rejigged it so many times and moved things around that it just got really irritating, and also made it laggier and laggier as with each passing update. It's just a frustrating factor for me. It's just, please, Microsoft, I'm getting sick of this. It's like Windows 7 didn't keep doing this.
Yeah, I at least it's not like it's frustrating because, you know, with computers, I feel like anytime like Windows, for instance, would implement something new, there was always some way to like customize it to like remove that new thing, or like at one point they got rid of the classic start menu, and I tried to give the new start menu a chance. I could not adapt to it, so I installed something that implemented the old classic menu because I had it perfectly organized just the way I wanted, and then they were just throwing all this crap at me with this new start menu, and there were so many things like that on a computer that you can go, well, I can at least modify it, what they have. I can at least tweak this, but on the Xbox, there's not really anything you can tweak or hack or like there's like tiny customizations that don't mean that much.
Yeah, when it comes to the dashboard, it's just rigid. There's no flexibility to it. You can change aspects of different things with your Xbox itself, but when it comes to the dashboard itself, it's just like there's no customization. It's like, and again, you've moved pins. You made pins more annoying for me to get to.
Yeah.
And it's like I think one of my biggest frustrations actually is on the home menu. I'm pretty sure they've removed the recently played. Like you remember when you had your most recently played game, and then you had 4 recently played apps or games or whatever below it.
Yeah,
and they've gotten rid of that. I'm pretty certain they've gotten rid of that, and I can check now.
Well,
my TV.
Well, mine has my most recent one at the top, nice and big. The 2 after that, and then the disc that I have in taking one of the slots. So there's 4 slots on mine.
Let me just load up my telly now. Home.
I actually tried to mess with the home customization, and it was not good.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, it's my most recently played game, and then it's free things and my games and apps. It's like, okay, 3 most recently played things. With me, do you know how quickly it will take me to just get something like FIFA 17, which I play when I'm going to bed? Do you know how quickly it'll take me to just get that off the recently played? Very quickly. I don't know. It just
well, here's what they want you to do: click on My Games and Apps, on Games, which has probably reset itself. Go to Sort by Last Used, and then you'll see today. Like I'm looking at mine right now. Today, okay. 1 game. Yesterday, 2 games, and then that's the end of the screen. Like, what if I was playing a game and I took a couple days off from it? It's like, okay, I've gotten to about 6 button clicks, 7. Oh, there's that game. Like,
yeah, it's just.
Well, I mean, I can use my Kinect to say, like, open this game or whatever, but it only works about half the time, and I have to, like, at nighttime, I can't be like, hey, Xbox, freaking open this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. What? Now you hear me. Seriously? I'm not talking that. What? Okay, while I was saying that,
did your Kinect actually respond?
Yes. And
I've got a test for you. I don't know if it can hear me.
I really have to speak up.
Yeah.
No, I have you in my headphones.
Ah, damn it! I was going to try and get it to turn the Xbox off.
Yeah, there's no confirmation now.
I've wanted to do that so many times over the years.
But no, seriously, right now, I said the name of the console, and I didn't say it as loud as I normally have to say it. And it hurt me, as well as my phone hears it whenever I say that name, which I'm not going to say, or else it'll ruin this call. And I got frustrated with this now when it popped up, and I said something about hearing or something, and it muted my TV.
Oh god.
But yeah. Anyways,
well, it's like you at least have Connect to at least have voice commands. I don't, and I'm not going to have my headset plugged in all the time to use Cortana. I don't use Cortana anyway. I turned it off just so that, because I have a friend who has Cortana turned on, and it's awful. It's terrible. It's like half the time it'll think he's saying "Hey Cortana" while we're playing Overwatch. And I'll just suddenly hear, "No, Katana, stop listening," or whatever. And it's just like,
go away. Who's there? It's just Cortana.
It's just like,
I don't even play Halo, and she's bothering me.
Voice commands just frustrate me because voice recognition software isn't there. It's like half the time. I mean, I remember my experience with trying to get the Kinect, because my brother has a Kinect for the 360, and just trying to get it to respond to my voice was just a nightmare. It's like, I'm talking to you. My accent is not that bloody bad. Come on.
Well, it actually got better. It wasn't on the Kinect side. It was on the game side, because I remember when I first got a Kinect on 360, it was right when it came out, or a couple months later, and it wasn't that the voice stuff wasn't very good. The camera stuff was good, but voice stuff not so good. But then they came out with like newer Kinect games, like Kinect Sports Season 2, to where you actually had voice commands, and all of a sudden it was working really well. And yeah, I always forget to use it in those games, but yeah, it got better.
Yeah, I don't know. Just.
But anyways, I was talking about my recently played game.
Yeah,
like 20 minutes ago.
Don't worry. It was
4 years ago.
It was 4 years ago, and don't worry, we got a good discussion about the dashboard at least.
Yeah, something we said we weren't going to talk about.
Yeah, funny enough.
This is the Left Stick, Right Stick podcast, where we talk about things we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, this is also the Left Stick, Right Stick podcast, where we actually basically just completely removed our structure. I think it's just better this way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're invertebrates.
What have you been playing recently?
No backbone. Oh man, what have I been playing?
Well, I know you've been playing Gone Home.
I played Gone Home. I can't criticize it because I didn't actually play the story. I saw a little bit at the beginning, but then I followed the guide, not realizing that following the guide I'd get none of the story. And by the time I got pretty far through it, I was like, I just need a few more achievements, and I don't want to play the story.
It's not good, dude. Trust me.
It didn't seem like it would be, but yeah, those achievements they piss me off. I don't like those kind of achievements. I do not like timed games. I do not like timed achievements because you don't have a timer.
I have no problem with speedrun achievements. My problem with Gone Home speedrun achievement, it exposes how shit the game is, basically. So it does. It's like when Resident Evil has an achievement for beating the game in under 3 hours. And it's like, yes, it's a short game, but under 3 hours, an under 3 hour run in Resident Evil is still pretty good. It takes a good amount of memorization, it takes a good run. It's not hard. With this one, it's like, I literally... So to tell a story with Gone Home, I stiffed Fulbright a couple of years ago in a Humble Bundle. Because you can choose how much of the money goes to devs. And I intentionally gave them no money, because I didn't want Gone Home. I didn't want Gone Home, but it was in the pay $1 tier. So just like, well, it's gonna be in it, so whatever. So I was just like, no money because this game's worthless to me. And I fobbed off the code to I basically just went to in a group I was in at the time and just went, who wants a code for Gone Home? I don't want it. I just got out the Humble Bundle. A friend took it off my hands, decided to stream it, and he beat it in less than 5 minutes. He found a secret door that the key is behind by randomly looking around.
Well, if you find it, then it says attic key, and then you go attic key. You go to the attic, and if you interact with that thing at the end of the attic, game over.
Yeah, and that's how he did it. That's how he did it. He just randomly found the secret hall thing and just stumbled upon it really quickly. It was a joke.
I do got to say one thing about that game is that house was nuts. Like,
it's horribly designed.
Well, not that. It's huge.
Yeah,
on the outside, it looks like a normal house, maybe like a 2,500 square foot house, which is like a little bigger. You know, like an older house is a fairly big house. Maybe it has like some extra rooms. Maybe it has like 4 or 5 bedrooms. Okay, but like this house had 2 bedrooms and a guest room, and was massive. I mean, it took me a while to figure out my way around that place.
Well, it's like it feel like I watched my brother play it, and I was just like, this house is so unrealistically designed. It's not even funny. It's like this is it's like there's supposed to be a sense of realism with this. Like, it's like, what about this is realistic?
I know it wasn't. It had like it was basically a mansion, but it wasn't. Exactly. So many. I get how it was like that for a video game. Like, oh, you want a lot to explore, you want a lot of halls, you want a lot of doors, but it was like, who's going to want to walk half a mile from their bedroom to the laundry room, or like the kitchen to their...
Exactly.
And the stairs were so wide, like they didn't consider like, oh, this isn't a house, this is like a mansion, but we're pretending like it's not a mansion.
Yeah, it's like the problem is with Gone Home's level design, we'll call it. I mean, I'm going to compare it to Resident Evil because I think that's a very good one to compare it to. Resident Evil generally features overly complex locations. Like, why the hell does a police station have a door that's locks and unlocks based on a mechanism in a statue just outside it? Like, what police station has that? But then also you just have to look at Resident Evil and go, it's not trying to be realistic.
Right.
The mansion in the Spencer Mansion, they give a perfectly acceptable in-universe explanation for the way it's designed. But it's like, this isn't meant to be realistic. I mean, for one, it's a game about zombies and zombie dogs and all these other scientific experiments. It's like, it's not meant to be totally realistic, so you kind of just go, whatever. Video game logic. With Gone Home, it feels like it's trying to be realistic. It feels like it's trying to convey a very real atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's trying to convey a serious story that could happen in real life. And it's just like, these characters are stupid. Your level design is stupid. It just doesn't make sense.
You know what's actually really funny about it is I saw it on sale several times before it was free with gold, and like I heard people say good things about it, and it looked interesting from like the screenshots, and I thought it was a horror game, and maybe it was because the similarity. I mean, I've never played Resident, but I've seen like gameplay of like the mansion and stuff.
Oh, it's like it's walking around tight corridors. It's very claustrophobic.
Well, it's also dark unless you turn on the lights or use the I had turned the brightness all the way up, but though the first time I played it, I thought I went in for like the first like round of achievements, which was like 10 or 15 minutes just to get a few miscellaneous ones before you do like the speed run or the bulk of it. Yeah. And I went in there and I was like spooked by like the noises and the darkness and all these things, and then after a while, I read after I started to get an idea of what the story was, I was like, oh, I wasn't supposed to be scared.
Well, the thing is, like, there's supposed to be an atmosphere. If there's one, I'm going to give one I'm going to say one good thing about Gone Home. It's probably the only good thing I'm ever going to say about Gone Home. In terms of the only other good thing I'll say about Gone Home is it's definitely there's definitely better walking sims out there. But like the good thing is it does have a good atmosphere in terms of it really captures a good atmosphere of being alone in a house with a thunderstorm outside. It's got a pretty unsettling atmosphere, and it can put you on edge, which it does well. It does do well in that regard, and it feels intentional. But aside from that,
it really took me out of it whenever I did the achievement for getting the developer commentary, and you turn that on, and there's just giant light bulbs all over the house, like floating, that you have to go and click on. Like it's like, oh, you could really see like, oh, people made this. This isn't a real place. Like, it really took me out of it. There's even one. I didn't listen to the commentary, but every once in a while I see like the subtitles or hear something, and one of them was about how there are no shoes in the house, and I was like, I don't care. Like, you didn't put a lot of detail into a lot of things. I don't care why there's no shoes in the house.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think I got about 15 more minutes. And I wanted to say I only played Gone Home because I was taking a break from the ultimate head-to-head competition on True Achievements. And I won't go too far into that, but basically I did pretty well for the first 4 rounds. I did better than I thought I would. My achievements weren't too difficult most of the time. They were just very lengthy, like a lot of story-related achievements. I never touched the Assassin's Creed 3 achievements because I'm not ready to play that game, and I didn't want to rush through 7 memory sequences. So it was pretty fun. The first week, I put too much pressure on myself, and I realized 3 things. I'm putting too much pressure on myself. I need to hopefully not get any Banjo-Kazooie games in my next list. And third, I realized that I should not have done so many games for my Bean Dive. Because there's so many games in there. I was like, during my Bean Dive, I was like, I tried them out, and I was like, oh, I didn't really like it, or maybe I'll like it later. But then all of a sudden, I have to get an achievement 2 hours into it, and I'm like, I don't want to play that game.
It defeats the purpose of the Bean Dive.
Oh, yeah. The Bean Dive, my first Bean Dive shouldn't have been right before my first UHH, but now I'm ruined for at least a couple of years in the UHH with those games, unless I go back and painstakingly go through them. But the competition, it got more and more fun, and then day 1 of the knockout stage, I've talked about this on the Discord, but I'll go ahead and vent a little here. I did really well. I got 11 achievements in one day, and I managed to stay ahead of my opponent the entire time. It didn't show it because I guess he has a pro account, and it refreshed, it caught his achievements right away, but then later on the timestamp would show that, oh, I actually got these achievements first. And I was like, we're tied, but I got mine first. I'm winning. And got to 11:11, was away from my phone for a few hours, come back, 19:11, this is on the first day, and I had to go, wait a second, this guy's really intense. And he looked kind of intense from his other rounds. So then I went and I look at his gamer score, got about 25,000 gamer score, and I realized either this guy just came over from PlayStation or something, and it's super intense and just bought like hundreds of Xbox games all at once, or maybe this is an alternate account. And sure enough, my friends tell me, oh, yep, that's an alt account.
Yeah. And
I got in an argument on the forums about whether or not that's okay.
I don't think it's okay, but I don't see how you're going to be able to tackle it, because it
should be addressed, though.
It's something that should be addressed. It's like, but the problem is that unless there is absolute definitive proof, it's so hard to figure out.
Yeah. I get that aspect of it, the technical aspect of it.
There's a technical aspect of, if you don't have definitive proof, it's just so hard, and basically anyone can get out of it. You could accuse anyone of being an alt account.
Right. There's a lot of tricky things with it, but I feel like when it comes to these contests, it's more about like,
it's like preloading.
Hey, we're all gonna have fun, and these things are popular, and it makes people more active on our site, and so that's great. One of the criticisms I have of True Achievements is it's a great site, but so many things like this they let go by the wayside because they're like, well, it's set up, and we added some new rules and modifications, and everybody loves it, so yeah, don't complain about it, and we'll take your feedback, and maybe we'll implement a little bit of that next year. But and I've only really been active on TA for like a year, so and I've already witnessed a lot of this, but they don't prioritize those things, and I feel like they don't have enough manpower to address these development issues where it's you're going to make this massive contest on your site, you need to really regulate it. There needs to be people going in and responding to every complaint, even if they're bogus, even if people are just complaining that they're losing. Like,
you need a team to basically investigate it.
Right, you need good customer support, basically.
Yeah.
And it's something we're not really paying for, so I get that. But at the same time, it was very frustrating to see this person just go through, and I called it cheating, and somebody said, it's not cheating because they're following the rules. And I looked up cheating in the dictionary, and it said nothing about subverting rules. It said about using some sort of deceit to
it is deceitful.
Get some sort of gain. And it's deceitful.
It's basically like, hey, even if I get knocked out with one account, I'll still be in with the other, potentially. It's like, how is that fair? I mean, you could be in a scenario, for example, if someone's hardcore enough and lucky enough, they could go to the final round with them facing that ult. And I feel like for some of them that is the goal. And it's like, I get the idea of wanting to compete and giving yourself loads of chance to compete. Like there is merit to that end of alt accounts, but for me it's just a case of people that use alt accounts ruin it, and it's one of the reasons why I don't sign up for UHH. I don't like these competitive events anyway. I don't want to compete for achievements. I just want to go at my own pace. But with this, it's just like, there's so many scummy things. It's just like, if I'm entering a competitive event, and there's already going to be preloaders, which we can't do anything about, alt accounts, which we probably can't do anything about, and just some errors with some achievements, like, hey, this achievement isn't flagged as unobtainable because it's technically unobtainable, so screw you.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it, but actually, preloading I don't have a problem with in theory, because it's you can preload an achievement for anything. You're working on an achievement and you've almost got to it. It's just holding off on actually popping the achievement. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
It's just against the spirit of it a little, I find.
Right, yeah. But the preloading feels more like preparing for a potential thing, kind of like if you're taking a test and you don't know exactly what to study for, you study for a lot of different things. Or if you go on Jeopardy and you're a trivia buff, but you start reading up on different types of things just so that you might, if you get that category, you'll be prepared. That's what preloading feels like. But using an alt account, stuff like that, it's just like, I don't know, one person, they used the argument on the forum, they said that maybe that person didn't qualify because they didn't have enough locked achievements and they wanted to enter the competition. I'm all for everybody entering the competition, but if I didn't have enough achievements or enough games, which I might not have if I hadn't done my bean dive, I wouldn't expect to be able to enter a competition.
It's
I wouldn't be like, oh, poor me.
The way I see it, it's like tough tatas. It's like, if you don't have, if you're not eligible for it, then I'm sorry, cry me a river.
Right. I wanted to do the, what is it called, GTA SE? I wanted to do that this year, but I just missed the deadline. I'm not going to be like, oh, poor me, let me in late, make an exception for me, or I should be able to play this and start it anytime I want. Like, no, that's not a good argument. I did not hear any good arguments for it, and it was really stupid. But anyways, I'm getting past that, and I've enjoyed time away from the competition. I'm not sure if I'm going to play next week or not, but I've just been really catching up on some old games. I've been playing ukulele, trying to get all the collectibles and finish. I got like a handful of collectibles and like 2 boss fights, and I'm done with that game. I played Bold Boy, which is a fun kind of point and click adventure, and man, you missed out on it when you didn't watch the stream. I don't know if you heard me talking about it, but it's not vulgar, but it's very crude.
Yeah, like
a lot of like poop humor and just some gross things. It was a really cool game, and I'm making the that, so it's actually, I'm having fun making the walkthrough. That's
nice.
How much I enjoyed it. But yeah, I've just been going for little things here and there, and I'm kind of waiting to see if I'm going to join the competition again before I start something new, like a big game, like Assassin's Creed 3 or BioShock or the next Tomb Raider game. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Some good stuff, it sounds. Apart from Gone Home, because Gone Home's not good.
Uninstall. That's all I have to say about that.
I had to resist the urge to say anything about that, just because. No, my hate, to explain it just a quick back to Gone Home, do it really quickly. Basically, my hatred for it stems from the fact that when it came out, like, just so many people raved about it, and I was one of those people that just like, why? I didn't get it. I didn't get why it was such a good game, and then I looked into it. It's just like, really, this is God's gift to gaming. Really,
that might be a good topic for our next podcast in 4 years if we do it.
We could talk about walking sims, so I can finally have a reasonable conversation about one.
Well, we can talk about game criticism, maybe. Just talk about some games that we particularly.
We could go over some unpopular opinions.
Huh?
We could go over some unpopular opinions next time.
Yes.
I feel like pissing people off.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, you either already like us enough to listen to it, or I don't know why. So why are we gonna worry about that? I mean, our friends that are probably gonna listen to this already know most of our opinions about these things, and
it's like everyone knows I hate Skyrim.
So yeah, I mean, what's the harm? I mean, we're not going to say anything terribly offensive. We're just going to crap.
I don't know. It is. I don't know. It is me. I'm probably going to say something terribly offensive. You haven't heard my humour off the streams and off the Discord server. Trust me, dude.
I feel like I know what it is. What your brand of humor is.
Oh, but yeah.
Anyways, it's a good note to go out on. Yep. I guess.
So.
If anybody has any questions or anything they want us to talk about, we're kind of moving towards a less of a structure, I think, depending on how this one turns out. I think it was more conversational. Yeah,
questions are very much appreciated. Yes. They always provide good conversation structure. If you've got any questions, we'll have an invite to Discord server if you are listening and you are not in it. And for anyone that's already in the server, just go to the questions channel and ask anything you want. Just ask us questions. There's rules in the questions channel on what to ask and what not to ask, basically. So yeah, I think we're done, aren't we?
Right. Let's end it by saying you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah. Before we go, if you You can follow Derek. Derek, plug your stuff. We forgot to do this last time.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on
the
different places?
Twitterverse?
Yes, the Twitterverse.
You can follow me at Derek 2.0, DEREK TWOPOINTOH.
And I believe that's the same tag for Mixer, yes?
Yes, it is. And that is my alt Twitter account, if you want to get technical.
Okay.
Just for gaming.
And if you wish to follow me, on Twitter I'm at Ross Hitchman. I don't use it that much anymore. I kind of took a break from it. And you can follow me on Twitch and Mixer. I'm kind of hot potatoing between the two right now. Law Scruff for both of them. So, with that, thank you all for watching.
Yes, thank you.
This isn't a stream. Damn it.
Yes, that's thank you for watching, because I wasn't doing.
Well, if they're on the YouTube version, they are watching in a sense.
Well, yeah.
They're watching a still logo.
True.
Because I'm too lazy.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Right. See you in another 4 years.
We'll see you in 10 years when we do episode 2. Bye-bye.